Today, we're digging into a really tragic day in Atlanta. What started as just a normal afternoon was completely shattered by gunfire right near the Emory University campus and, believe it or not, the CDC headquarters. This whole event would end up costing a police officer his life and putting an entire community right on edge. So let's break down exactly what happened.
Can you imagine getting this alert on your phone? Just 3 words: run, hide, fight. That's it. It's the kind of message that signals immediate life or death danger. And that's exactly what was blasted out across the Emory University campus, just plunging this really busy area into total terror as an active shooter situation started to unfold.
So how did a normal day just explode into this kind of chaos? Let's walk through the timeline of how everything went down and brought a major part of the city to a total standstill.
Okay, so this all happened incredibly fast. The very first reports of a shooter came from near a CVS right on campus, and that triggered immediate lockdowns. We're talking the university, that pharmacy, and, this is critical, the federal CDC headquarters right next door. They all went on lockdown. You can just feel the panic. Someone who was actually inside the CDC at the time said, "You couldn't come in, you couldn't come out." I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to be a victim. And within minutes, law enforcement was just swarming the area, racing toward the sound of gunfire.
Now, this wasn't just a gunman on the street, which made things so much more dangerous for police. Authorities confirmed the suspect was heavily armed and he'd gotten himself into a high-ground position on the roof of that CVS. That gave him a huge tactical advantage, and it put the responding officers in extreme danger as they were just trying to approach the building.
And it's in these moments, as police are closing in, that this confrontation takes a truly tragic turn.
So as officers moved in on that rooftop, gunfire erupted. When it all finally stopped, the suspect was found dead. Investigators believe it might have been a suicide, but the cost of that firefight was just immense. DeKalb County police officer David Rose had been shot.
This quote from an eyewitness just paints such a harrowing picture of what happened next. They describe seeing Officer Rose get to the hospital, totally unresponsive, as his fellow officers were desperately doing chest compressions. It was just this frantic, heartbreaking effort to save one of their own before he was even in the hands of the emergency room team.
You know, an incident like this doesn't just end with a news headline. It ends with a profound human loss. So I want to shift our focus now from the event itself to the man who was lost in the line of duty.
Officer David Rose was just 33 years old. That's it. A number that just represents a life full of promise, cut way, way too short.
Behind that badge was a husband and a father to 3 kids, with a 4th on the way. And he was actually pretty new to this job. He'd been on the force for less than a year. His department remembered him for his courage, integrity, and an unwavering dedication to the community he signed up to protect.
After a desperate fight to save him, Officer Rose died from his injuries at the hospital. In the aftermath, it wasn't just about a crime scene. It was about this deep loss. News cameras caught this moment of his fellow first responders just holding each other outside the hospital. A really raw public display of grief that shows you just how tight that law enforcement community is. And the impact of this violence, it just rippled far beyond the police department. So let's take a look at how the wider community was affected by all of this and how they responded.
When his department put out an official tribute, they didn't just honor his service. They framed the loss in these deeply human terms. They called it a very dark day and really focused on the family he left behind. A wife, now without her husband, and children, including one who wasn't even born yet, who would now have to grow up without their dad.
And that sense of danger was felt so acutely right next door. We now know that several bullets from that firefight actually hit buildings on the CDC campus. It's just a chilling reminder of how close the staff at this incredibly important national agency came to being caught right in the middle of the crossfire.
But, amid all that terror, there was also this moment of incredible relief. And that's what this number 92 represents. While bullets were hitting nearby buildings, there were 92 children inside a daycare on the Emory campus. And because of that immediate lockdown and the police response, every single one of them was kept safe. It's just a reminder of the other tragedies that were thankfully avoided that day.
The leadership at the CDC, whose campus was locked down and literally hit by gunfire, sent this message to their staff. And it really captures the 2 big feelings of that day:
Just immense gratitude for the officers who ran toward the danger, and this deep, deep sorrow for the officer who made the ultimate sacrifice to protect them.
So all of this leaves one final, lingering question that just hangs over this entire tragedy. Why?
Right. The why is the most haunting, unknown piece of this whole puzzle. Right now, investigators are digging into the shooter's background. They're looking for anything, a social media post, something in his personal history, any clue that might explain what led him to that rooftop with a weapon on that day.
And that really leaves us with the question that follows so many of these senseless acts of violence, doesn't it? The person responsible is gone, and he took his reasons with him. So now, a community is left not only to grieve, but to grapple with the huge uncertainty of why this happened. A question that might just never have a clear answer.